This video is edited and produced by XylaVibe Audio. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Supporting creators means a lot. Now, let's begin. Wait, what the hell? Didn't I just get hit by a car? Why am I here? Liu Zhao opened his eyes to find himself in a room straight out of an ancient Chinese drama. Wooden beams, silk curtains, antique furniture. He looked down and realized his clothes weren't modern either. His mind went blank until a wave of unfamiliar memories hit him all at once. After digesting everything, he let out a dry laugh. So, I've transmigrated. Great. As a web novel fan, he was no stranger to this trope. He quickly accepted it. According to the memories, the original owner of this body was also named Zhao Lang, the slightly dull son of a wealthy landowner in a place called Huaxia. Apparently, this young master had fallen and hit his head 2 days ago, giving Leo's soul the perfect chance to take over. Well, I was single, broke, and couldn't even afford rent back home. Now I'm a rich young master. Not a bad deal. He walked to a copper mirror and saw a refined, handsome face staring back at him. Not bad. At least 80% as handsome as before, he smirked. Just then, the door swung open. A middle-aged man in a black robe stepped in, followed by an elderly servant. The old man hurried forward, nearly in tears. Master Zhao, you shouldn't be out of bed. Can you recognize me? Can you speak properly? Leo blinked, then replied smoothly. I'm fine, Uncle Fu. The middle-aged man's eyes flickered with emotion. He was clearly holding something back. Langair, he said softly. You fell and hit your head, but it seems that fall cured your condition. Perhaps it was a blessing in disguise. Leo suddenly realized. This man was his father, the original Zhao Lang's father. In his memories, this man was a strict but caring parent, often away on business. Calling him father doesn't cost me anything, Leo thought. Father, he said aloud. The man's eyes trembled. For a brief second, he almost teared up, but quickly hid it behind a stern look. Rest for a few more days. You've been through a lot. Leo nodded obediently, though his mind was racing. If my memory's right, this is the Qin dynasty. Wait, which year is it? Trying not to sound suspicious, he asked casually. Father, I've been a bit confused these past years. What year is it now? Before his father could answer, Uncle Fu chuckled proudly. This year is the 33rd of Emperor Qinzheng's reign. Leo froze. Wait, Qinzheng? As in the Qin Shi Huang? The first emperor? His mind went blank for a second before realization hit him like thunder. Oh crap. That means there are only 3 peaceful years left before the empire falls apart. His father's face darkened. Langer, what did you just say? Leo quickly realized. His slip-up. Before he could make up an excuse, a blue text suddenly appeared before his eyes, like a video game prompt. Choice 1, say nothing. Reward, 10,000 gold tiles. Choice 2, tell the truth. Reward, special forces physique. Well, I've always been a man of honesty. Leo grinned. Father, 3 years from now, the world will descend into chaos. We must prepare early. The room went silent. Uncle Fu's face went pale. Young master, please don't say such nonsense. His father dismissed the servant with a wave. Leave us. Once they were alone, the man's gaze sharpened. Langer, do you even know what you're saying? To speak of rebellion under Qin's rule is treason. Leo took a deep breath. Father, it's not rebellion, it's survival. Emperor Qin may be invincible now, but in 3 years he will die, poisoned by his own pursuit of immortality. The man's eyes widened in shock. What nonsense is this? Leo met his gaze. Father, if you don't believe me, test it. Feed his so-called immortality pills to an animal. You'll see what I mean. His father's face twisted with conflicting emotions. Anger, doubt, and something else. I need to think, he muttered and left the room. Leo exhaled deeply. Phew. Didn't think meeting my transmigrated dad would be this stressful. Meanwhile, in the royal palace. Emperor Qin stood silently beside a table. A dead rabbit lay before him. Moments ago, it had eaten one of the immortal pills. He stared at it for a long, long time. "Zhao Gao," he said coldly. A nervous voice answered from outside the hall. "Your Majesty? Arrest all those so-called alchemists and summon Shufu back from his expedition." Zhao Gao trembled. Yes, Your Majesty." As the guards rushed out, Emperor Qin stood alone in silence. After a long pause, he murmured, "Could it be that my foolish son was right?" After that strange conversation, Liu Zhao stayed in his room for a while, letting everything sink in. The system that had appeared earlier suddenly lit up again before his eyes. "System activated. Congratulations, host, for completing your first main choice. Reward issued. Special Forces Physique." A warm current surged through his body. Every cell seemed to come alive. Leo clenched his fists. The strength was unbelievable. So this is what it feels like to go from couch potato to soldier in 1 second. Damn. The system beeped again. "New quest unlocked. Earn your father's full trust. Reward, Strategic Mind, Level 1. Leo smirked. Strategic Mind? Now that's something I can use. He knew this world was dangerous. Wars, rebellions, political traps. But with a system like this, maybe he didn't have to be just a rich young master waiting to die. He would change history. That evening, Uncle Fu came in with a tray of food. "Master Lang, you should eat something." "The young master needs his strength." Leo smiled faintly. "Uncle Fu, you've been with my father for many years, right?" The old man nodded proudly. "Since before you were born, young master. Why do you ask?" Leo put down his chopsticks, his tone calm. "If chaos really comes in 3 years, how strong are we compared to others?" Uncle Fu blinked in surprise. "Young master, you mean prepare for war?" Leo didn't answer directly. "I just don't want our Zhao family to become someone else's stepping stone." Uncle Fu hesitated, then sighed. "Our family has land and wealth, but not many men who can fight. Your father is cautious. He won't take action without proof." Leo leaned back, deep in thought. "Then I'll give him proof." Later that night, his father, Lord Zhao, returned. His expression was complicated. "Lang Er," he said slowly. "I did what you asked." Leo raised an eyebrow. "You mean the Emperor's alchemist's pills? We tested them on dogs." There was a long pause. Then, "They died within an hour." Leo exhaled. "So now you believe me?" His father's expression was unreadable. "I believe that you are no longer the son I once knew." Leo froze. Lord Zhao continued, voice deep and calm. "You speak differently. You act differently. It's as if you've lived through something I can't understand." Leo's lips curved slightly. "Maybe I've simply grown up." The man studied him for a long time, then finally nodded. "If what you say about chaos is true, then we must prepare." Leo grinned. "That's what I've been waiting to hear." System notification, main quest progress, 50%. Earn your father's full trust. Over the next few days, the Zhao estate transformed. Leo began training the guards personally, introducing strange drills no one had ever seen, formation tactics, ambush maneuvers, endurance runs. Uncle Fu nearly fainted watching the young master running alongside soldiers under the scorching sun. "Master Lang, you're the young lord. You don't have to do this yourself." Leo laughed. "If I can't run 5 miles, how can I lead men into chaos?" At first, the soldiers whispered and snickered. But by the 3rd day, when Leo outlasted all of them, their laughter turned into awe. Even his father watched from a distance, his expression unreadable. That night over dinner, Lord Zhao finally spoke. "Langer, those drills you taught the guards, where did you learn them?" Leo thought for a second, then smiled faintly. "In a dream, father." Lord Zhao raised an eyebrow, but said nothing more. After a moment, he said quietly, "If you wish to build a legacy, then do it properly. I'll assign you 50 men. Train them well." System update. Quest complete. Earn father's trust. Reward received, strategic mind, level 1. Leo could almost feel his thoughts. Sharpen. Let's see. With 50 men and enough time, maybe I can plant the seed of a future army. Outside the estate walls, the empire still looked calm. But Leo Zhao knew better. The storm hadn't come yet, but the clouds were already forming. And when it hit, the Zhao family would be ready. The next morning, Leo Zhao stood on the training field, facing 50 rough-looking men. Most were hired guards. Some were farmhands who could swing a stick, but not one of them looked like a soldier. Leo clapped his hands. From today on, you're not guards anymore. You're my troops. A ripple of confusion went through the group. One man scratched his head. Troops, young master, are we going to war? Leo smiled. Eventually. But for now, you're going to learn how to survive one. He began by teaching them formation drills, not the rigid ceremonial marches used by the Imperial Army, but fluid movements meant for real combat. Remember, he barked, pacing between rows, when chaos breaks out, numbers mean nothing. Discipline does. He demonstrated himself, showing how to pivot, how to strike, how to protect your comrade's blind spot. By noon, half of them were lying flat on the ground, panting. Uncle Fu stood nearby, shaking his head. You've turned the Zhao estate into a battlefield, young master. Leo grinned, wiping sweat from his forehead. If we don't bleed now, we'll die later. Simple math, Uncle Fu. That evening, while the men rested, the system pinged softly again. Side quest unlocked. Form a battle-ready unit, 100 men. Reward, military talent, level 1. Leo frowned. 100? I've got 50. The system replied coolly. Recruitment suggestion. Use influence, wealth, and persuasion. Leo thought for a moment, then snapped his fingers. Persuasion, huh? Sounds like I need to make a speech. The next morning, he gathered everyone. Guards, servants, even farmers from nearby villages. Standing on a wooden platform, he looked down at their puzzled faces. You all know me, Leo began. You've seen me waste my father's silver, drink too much, and act like a spoiled brat. A few chuckles rippled through the crowd. He smiled faintly. Well, that guy's gone. I've seen what's coming. Famine, rebellion, war. And when it hits, only those who prepare will survive. His tone grew harder. If you're willing to follow me, I'll feed you, train you, and make you strong enough that no one can trample your families again. Silence. Then a voice shouted, If the young master says it, I'll follow. Another joined. Then another. Within minutes, the training ground erupted in cheers. Uncle Fu, watching from the side, whispered to himself, When did that boy learn how to move hearts like that? System update. Recruits gained plus 160. Side quest progress, 110%. Reward unlocked. Military talent, level 1. A sudden clarity filled Leo's mind. Tactical maps, supply routes, morale systems, ambush calculations. It was like an invisible general whispering in his ear. In the following weeks, the once peaceful Zhao estate transformed again. Men trained at dawn. The clang of wooden weapons echoed day and night. Leo taught them everything. How to hide their formation, how to move unseen through forests, how to fight when outnumbered. At night, he pored over maps by candlelight, sketching defensive plans. His father visited occasionally, saying little, but watching intently. One night, Lord Zhao finally broke his silence. Langer, you've built a small army in less than a month. The officials will notice. Leo didn't look up from the map. They won't. I've already registered them as construction workers for estate expansion. Lord Zhao stared, then let out a quiet laugh. You're more cunning than I ever was. Leo smiled. I had a good teacher. Weeks later, a scout rushed in, bowing deeply. Young master, messengers from the north bring word. Rebels have risen near the borders. The hall fell silent. Leo stood slowly, his expression unreadable. So it begins. System message. Main quest updated. Survive the fall of Qin. Reward, unknown. Difficulty, extreme. He turned to his father. It's time to move, father. The storm's coming sooner than we thought. Lord Zhao's gaze hardened. Then we stand ready. That night, as thunder rolled in the distance, Liu Zhao looked out across the dark fields of Huaxia, where his hidden army trained under the moonlight. 3 years from now, chaos will consume the world, he whispered. But when it does, we won't be the victims. We'll be the ones writing history. Thunder rolled across the horizon. The air smelled of rain, smoke, and war. In the candlelit study of the Zhao estate, Liu Zhao stood over a map marked with red pins and ink trails. Beside him, Uncle Fu read the latest messenger scroll aloud. The northern garrison has been attacked by rebels. Local officials are fleeing. The roads to Yun County are no longer safe. Liu tapped his fingers on the table. How far are they from us? Less than 100 miles, young master. He nodded slowly. Too close. His father, Lord Zhao Xuan, stood silent for a moment before speaking in a low, steady voice. Langer, you've been training for this moment. But remember, once swords are drawn, there's no turning back. Leo looked up, eyes calm but sharp. Father, turning back was never an option. That night he gathered his men, now over 100 strong. Their faces were serious, but not fearful. Leo stood before them, armor shining dimly under the torchlight. Men of Huaxia, he began, voice steady but powerful. The empire is falling apart. The rich hide in their mansions. The soldiers betray their posts. But we will not run, he pointed north. Tonight we move. We protect the people, take down the bandits, and earn our place in the new world to come. The crowd erupted into cheers. System prompt. Main quest objective. Engage in your first battle. Reward, combat instinct. Level 1. They marched under the rain. Lightning flashed across the fields as their boots splashed through the mud. By dawn, they reached a burning village. Flames licked the sky. Screams echoed from the distance. Rebels, Uncle Fu spat. Animals! Leo raised his hand. Form ranks, shields front. The rebels, ragged but wild, came charging through the smoke, more than 100 of them, waving crude weapons. Leo's men tensed, gripping their spears. For many, this was their first real fight. Hold, Leo commanded. Hold. The rebels drew closer, 50 meters, 30, 20. Now, advance! His formation surged forward in unison, shields tight, spears thrusting as one. The first rebel wave broke like water against rock. Leo's voice cut through the chaos. Flank left, push right. His men moved instinctively, every order crisp, precise. It felt as if he had drilled them for years. System activation. Combat instinct, level 1. Activated. Reflexes boosted. Tactical awareness increased. Leo ducked under a blade, countered with a thrust, and took down his first opponent cleanly. Not bad for my first kill in another world, he muttered grimly. Within minutes, the battlefield was theirs. Smoke and silence replaced the screams. Afterward, the villagers came out trembling, bowing in gratitude. Leo didn't smile. He just told them, rebuild your homes. We'll keep watch for now. When he returned to camp that night, the system chimed again. Quest complete. First battle won. Reward obtained, combat instinct, level 1, bonus. Reward, leadership aura, passive. He could feel the difference. His soldiers looked at him not just as a young master anymore, but as a commander. Uncle Fu walked up, wiping blood from his hands. Master Lang, today you became a man. Leo chuckled softly. I'd prefer to become a legend. Back in the capital, word of a small militia defeating a rebel band reached the emperor's spies. In the grand hall of Xianyang, a eunuch knelt before Emperor Xin. Your Majesty, reports speak of a young noble leading a disciplined unit in Huaxia, repelling rebels without official orders. The emperor's eyes narrowed. A noble with his own army, acting without decree? He set down his brush. Find this Zhao Lang. I want to know what kind of man he is. Far away, Leo sneezed, rubbing his nose. Ugh. Someone must be talking about me. Uncle Fu looked at him, half laughing, half worried. You might be right, young master. And if it's who I think it is, we'll need to tread carefully. Leo grinned. Careful, that's not my style. If the Emperor's watching, I'll make sure he can't look away. He turned toward the horizon, where the dawn was breaking through the mist. The storm has only begun. A week after the battle, peace returned, at least on the surface. The Zhao estate was buzzing with activity, rebuilding the barracks, repairing weapons, tending to the wounded. Liu Zhao stood on the training ground, watching his soldiers drill with newfound confidence. These guys, he murmured, barely knew which end of a spear to hold a month ago. Now look at them. Uncle Fu approached with a report in hand. Master Lang, good news. Word of your victory has spread. Local villages are sending volunteers. They want protection under our banner. Leo raised an eyebrow. Volunteers, huh? That's how legends start. He smirked. But keep it quiet. The more noise we make, the sooner someone important will notice. Uncle Fu hesitated. Actually, someone already did. Leo turned. What do you mean? Fu lowered his voice. A royal envoy arrived this morning, from Xianyang. Leo froze. The capital? Yes. He says he carries a message from the emperor himself. The courtyard was silent when the envoy arrived, a sharp-eyed man in black robes, with a jade seal hanging from his belt. Behind him were several armored guards, their expressions cold and precise. He stepped forward, bowing slightly. Lord Zhao Xuan and young Master Zhao Lang. His Majesty sends his regards. Leo exchanged a glance with his father. His regards, Leo repeated. That doesn't sound like good news. The envoy smiled thinly. You misunderstand. His Majesty has heard of your recent achievement. Suppressing rebels without orders, leading trained men, protecting civilians. Commendable acts. He paused, then his tone sharpened. However, such actions, if not properly reported, may be mistaken for private military activity. And you know how the law treats that, don't you? The air turned heavy. Lord Zhao's jaw tightened. Envoy, my son acted only in defense of our lands. Surely His Majesty wouldn't punish loyalty. The envoy's smile returned, sly and measured. Punish? No. His Majesty rewards talent. In fact, he invites young Master Zhao Lang to Xianyang to personally present himself before the throne. Leo blinked. Me? Go to the capital? Uncle Fu's face turned pale. Young Master, that's not an invitation. That's a summons. That night, Leo sat alone in his study, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows across the walls. He stared at the glowing system prompt floating before him. New main quest. Enter the capital. Objective. Survive the Emperor's court. Reward. Political intuition. Level 1. Difficulty. Extreme. Leo sighed. Figures. The system really doesn't do easy mode, huh? He leaned back in his chair, muttering. So the Emperor wants to meet me. Either I'm getting promoted or executed. Then he smirked. 50-50 odds. Not bad. 2 days later, Leo rode out with a small escort. Uncle Fu beside him, and a dozen hand-picked guards behind. His father stayed behind, watching them go from the estate gates. Langer, Lord Zhao called. Remember, speak less, observe more. The court is full of smiling knives. Leo nodded. I'll keep my throat intact, father. The road to Xianyang was long and full of soldiers. Patrols moved restlessly, officials whispered of uprisings and court intrigue. Even before seeing the capital, Leo could feel the tension in the Empire's veins. When they finally reached the city, it took his breath away. Stone walls that reached the clouds, marketplaces buzzing with merchants, bronze-armored guards patrolling every gate. Welcome to the heart of the Qin Empire, Uncle Fu murmured. The place where dreams and heads roll alike. Leo grinned. Let's hope mine stays on the shoulders. The next morning, under the blinding light of the palace hall, Leo knelt before the first emperor himself. Emperor Qin sat on his throne, tall, still, and terrifyingly composed. His sharp eyes cut through the air like blades. So, the emperor said, voice low but echoing, you are Zhao Lang, the boy who dares to raise an army in my empire. Liu bowed lower. Your Majesty, I acted only to protect your people. Protect them, the Emperor repeated, his tone unreadable. Or lead them? A tense silence. Liu felt the system flicker again. Choice 1, humble denial, reward, 100 gold. Choice 2, bold truth, reward, imperial favor, potential. Liu's heart pounded. Then he looked straight up at the Emperor. Lead them if it means keeping peace under your name. The court gasped. The Emperor studied him for a long moment, then laughed softly. Courageous? Foolish, perhaps. But courageous. He turned to Zhao Gao, his infamous minister. Keep an eye on this one. I'd rather make use of him than waste him. Liu exhaled quietly, his palms damp with sweat. Survived round 1, he whispered under his breath. That night, as he left the palace, a shadow detached itself from the corridor. A woman in dark silk appeared, her eyes cold but curious. You shouldn't have spoken that boldly, she said. Most men who do never see another sunrise. Liu smiled faintly. Then it's a good thing I'm not most men. She studied him, then turned to leave. Be careful, Zhao Lang. In this court, the Emperor isn't the only one watching. As her silhouette faded into the torchlight, the system pinged again. New subquest, the shadow in the court. Objective, discover who she is. Reward, unknown. Liu smirked. Politics, mystery, and potential assassination. Great, exactly what I signed up for. He looked up at the starless sky of Xianyang, murmuring. The storm is moving into the palace now. Morning sunlight spilled across the marble floors of Xianyang Palace. Liu Zhao adjusted his new robe, official black trimmed with crimson, a mark of imperial favor. He stared at himself in the mirror and sighed. First battle won, survived an imperial audience. And now I'm a bureaucrat. Great, Uncle Fu chuckled beside him. You wanted influence, young master. Influence lives here, in halls, not battlefields. Liu gave him a look. Yeah, and so do snakes. Later that morning, Liu attended his first court session. The hall was massive. Hundreds of officials in silk robes lined both sides, bowing as the Emperor entered. Every move, every glance was heavy with calculation. Liu stood at the far end, silently observing. System prompt. Environment, high pressure zone. Tip. In the court of Qin, words kill faster than swords. The ministers began their endless reports. Taxes, rebellions, logistics. Liu kept his eyes sharp, studying who interrupted whom, who smiled too much, who bowed too low. He noticed one man in particular, Minister Zhao Gao, tall, pale, with a smile that didn't touch his eyes. When Zhao Gao spoke, even the Emperor listened carefully, and when his gaze flicked toward Liu, just for a second, Liu felt a chill crawl down his spine. After the session, Liu was invited to a casual gathering among nobles and officials. In the Qin court, casual meant deadly polite. Golden wine cups, perfumed air, laughter that didn't sound real. A thin noble leaned toward him. So you're the famous Zhao Lang, the boy general from the frontier? Liu smiled faintly. That's me. And you are? The man chuckled. Someone who admires your luck. Let's hope it lasts longer than most newcomers' careers. System notification, passive threat detected, recommended action. Smile. Liu smiled, perfectly calm, and raised his cup. Luck's a tricky thing. The more you rely on it, the faster it runs out. I prefer skill. The noble's grin froze just a little. Around them, several others exchanged glances. Uncle Fu, standing nearby, muttered under his breath. You're poking tigers again, young master. Liu whispered back. Better poke them now than get eaten later. Later that night, Liu slipped out to the palace garden to clear his head. The air was cool, the moon silver over the lotus pond. That's when he saw her again, the woman from the corridor. She stood by the water, arms crossed, her dark hair moving with the breeze. You're reckless, she said without turning, speaking boldly to ministers, mocking nobles. Are you trying to die young? Liu smirked. Not die, just live loudly. She finally turned, eyes sharp as daggers. You don't understand how this world works. Men rise here only to be used, then erased. Maybe, Leo said softly, but I plan to rewrite the rules. Expression flickered just for a moment. Curiosity, maybe admiration. Rewrite the rules? She repeated. You sound like someone dangerous. Depends on who's asking. A faint smile touched her lips. Then call me May. New character. Unlocked, Lady May, court advisor, allegiance unknown, trait silver tongue. New quest, trust or trap. Objective, discover Lady May's true motives. Reward, political intuition, level 1 upgrade. The next day, Leo found himself summoned again, this time not by the Emperor, but by Zhao himself. He entered a dim chamber where the powerful minister was writing calmly with a brush. Zhao didn't look up. Zhao Lang. I've heard quite a lot about you. Leo bowed slightly. I hope it was all good, sir. Oh, it was entertaining, Zhao